Good evening and welcome to the February 5th, 2020 legislative session of the Penfield Town Board. Welcome to everyone. I'll ask everyone to please rise. And I'm going to ask our friends from Troop 9, Miller and Max, if they would please lead us in the pledge tonight.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you very much. Miller, Max, thank you. Troop 9, working on citizenship in the community. Good luck on attaining that badge, and good luck on the journey towards Eagle. So look forward to going to your court of honor. So please send us an invitation. Okay, tonight we're going to start off our communications and announcement.
Supervisor LaFountain.
Thank you very much. I'll ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Okay, Draw.
Here.
Cole.
Here.
LaFountain.
Present.
Moore.
Here.
Akden.
Here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for keeping me honest. We will now look to our friends from the Penfield Community Victory Garden. We're going to put them on first. This is an annual event. I see Dot and Nancy are going to lead us through this update. And welcome as always, and I see Mike's in the audience as well, so great.
Thank you again for having us this year. My name is Dot Brennis, and I'm the chairperson of the Penfield Community Victory Garden Committee. And this is Nancy Marr. She's our vice chairperson for this season. We celebrated our 10th anniversary season in 2019, so we've been doing this for 10 years, and our garden has grown exponentially. Some great accomplishments. Again, we sold out all our beds in 2019, and our 2020 beds are actually sold out. So right here in February, we already have all our beds spoken for, which is pretty fantastic. We've been selling out now for 3 years. We've had a lot of great improvement projects done at the garden this year. We had another great Boy Scout work with us, Ryan Hoyt, on our shelter project. And that project was done in partnership actually with the Penfield, the Rotary. We got a grant through the Rotary as well as worked on our fundraising and used our money to take care of that. Compost bins were improved. Again this year, we had Girl Scout Troop 60765 who came and helped us improve our compost and clean up our compost area. And Daniel Moore, also Boy Scout, working on his Eagle project, did the furniture for our new shelter. I forgot to mention that Ryan Hoyt, that was his Eagle project, the shelter, which was pretty fantastic. We developed a pretty big partnership with our Rotary this year. We did a Four Corners planting again with the Rotary and Girl Scouts and First Baptist Church. So that's the second year we did that. And we thought that that project is really a great project for our community to do some potted plantings in the Four Corners area during the warmer season. Also, the Penfield, the Rotary put in a garden at Camp Hakamo, and Camp Hakamo put in the garden. Yeah, and sorry about that. And we assisted with that. And we continued our partnership with Brocolo Garden Center down on 441. We continue to work with them this season as well.
So we've done a number of community actions in our for our garden. We've done donations to the food bank, which we have done since every year.
10 years.
10 years. They kind of look forward to us. It's all organic, and there's always a spot waiting for us, and it's really nice. It makes us feel good. We had a really fantastic year this year, and we were able to donate quite a bit of fresh vegetables. Nazareth freshmen also did their service beginning of the school year. Nazareth students show up, they mulch the path that we have, which is kind of a walkway. We can kind of go back there and relax. We also have done a number of garden tours, both within our community and a large number of both community garden clubs, as well as all the way up to Geneva came in to take a look at our garden, and were really impressed, which was nice. We also worked in conjunction with the Flower City Garden Network, and we hosted last year our first annual seed swap. This year we did it again, I might as well add it because it's here. There was about 120 people there. It's fantastic, it's free, open to the public. It's really wonderful with guest speakers, and we've had a good relationship with this organization. We also did in November, we did a guest speaker where they handled everything. We made coffee. Handled everything, and they brought in a guest speaker on gardening with natives, which was really, really terrific. And again, this is something we offer, and it's open to the public for anyone to come in. Let's see, what else? Do we do fundraising?
Fundraising.
Yep. Oh, that's me, actually. Sorry. Want me to do fundraising?
Go ahead.
All right, I'll do it. We're splitting. We also are doing some fundraising. Last year, we did our first annual pasta dinner. We're doing our second one coming up February 26. I'm looking at Friday, 26. It's held at the community center. It's an eat-in or takeout. It's $8, all you can eat. There's cookies, there's pasta, there's salad, there's meatballs. We're working on getting sausage as well. It's very good. It's a lot of fun. We did a great event in that big, giant, humongous snowstorm that kind of shut down the entire state on last year on a Wednesday night. We still did like $1,500, which was really kind of amazing. So we had really fantastic support with the community. And this year we'll have a Boy Scout that's happening. Troop 312, Ben Krenzer, is working on our newest Eagle Scout project, which is the garden. Behind us, we have our garden, we have all that land behind us. He's putting in 2 out of 5 beds that will be relatively large, and fruit trees and berry and bushes and native food plants are all going to be going in there. It'll be protected initially, but once they get big enough, we'll open it up and they have to survive on their own. Oh, you can do the pass.
Yeah. We also had our annual plant sale this past May, and that plant sale was with Paths of Penfield. We worked with them. And of course, we had the children's garden classes there through the Recreation Department. And last year, again, ran a spring, summer, and fall garden class for children, and I had a sort of a record number of students during my, I'm believing it was the spring, I had like 15 kids enrolled, and that was a big amount for the one garden that we work in. And so it was over 30 kids this year that actually worked in the children's garden.
I do want to have a little plug for Dot. Some of these kids are now big kids, and they have their own garden.
Oh, yeah,
They buy their own beds
Yep.
now. So I just want to point it out, it's been 10 years that she's been running these classes. And these kids are bigger now, and they're in high school and junior high, and they're now providing for their families by growing the garden. So it's a really neat opportunity. She does a great job.
For our future, we'll be working on putting a pad down underneath our shelter. We're looking at gravel right now. That's what we have so far, which we've already gotten that taken care of through Bracolo. And Nancy is working with the Boy Scout Eagle for the food forest that she spoke about. We need to move that small shed that's where the shelter is. We need to move that back out of the way. And we need to do some fence maintenance as well. And so hopefully those things are things we'll be able to get through this season, or at least start this season. But without the town's support, and you guys have been so supportive of us, and we thank you and the Recreation Department and Sabrina over there. Sabrina Renner's great as our liaison. We just are so thankful that the town supports us, because we really feel like we're Penfield's greenest asset. We're there, we're green, and people that come to our garden, they garden there because they want to grow good food for their families, and it's really all part of that wellness mission that the Recreation Department has.
And you know, what's really nice is we've also stepped out. There's a lot of people that have come to the garden. We never refuse. If someone comes by, we tour them through it. It's a lot of people, they see us there and they pull over and say, can we walk through it? And it is, personally, I think it's beautiful. I mean, it's really come a long way, and we're really looking forward to the next phase with all the fruit trees and stuff in the back. And I think it's going to be really fantastic. So I want to thank you also again for all the support. It's kind of a little family. We've all been together for a long time, and, we take a lot of pride in this, and we want to make sure that it's, something that the town can be proud of as well, so.
Excellent, excellent.
Do you have any questions for us?
As always, thank you for everything you do. I know I try to stop at the food shelf a couple times a month to chat with the folks down there, and I know they appreciate everything that you do to support that. That's very important to their overall efforts to the folks in Penfield. So, thank you for that. So questions, board, for either Nancy or Dot?
I'll make one last plug.
Okay. Oh, yes.
There you go. Tickets, you can buy tickets at the door. You can see a couple Boy Scouts. Ben Krenzer, Troop 312 will be selling tickets. Any of the Garden Club members will be selling tickets as well, but also Sabrina at the Rec Center will be selling tickets.
Right.
It's a great night. It's fun. We have a lot of raffle items. We're going to have a little cello music.
Nice.
My daughter's going to play. It'll be fun. She's all excited. And it's a lot of fun. The food is good, and everyone really has a great time, and I really encourage you to, you get a lot of bang for your buck for $8, and it's a big support for our garden, so we thank you.
I know. I battled the snowstorm there, had dinner, came back for town board. It was great. So my only message to you, Nancy, don't forget to take the extra meatballs out of the oven this year.
That's her. It was her.
Okay.
Left it in the microwave. It was found the next day.
Oh, no, what's the meatballs?
It was a meatball.
And then-
On that note.
And then I'll also say to Dot, by way of full disclosure, Dot lives and her family, Mike, live 2 doors up, and she's kind enough to provide our family with caterpillars, and we do a lot of monarchs at our house during the summer. So we always look forward to see you coming down the street with your little container, and so I know
sent
my 2
some with her.
granddaughters. I know my 2 granddaughters are very excited about that.
Well,
so.
we'll have some more this year.
Yes, well,
I know. So
I
keep
didn't
up the
have
great
time
work.
this year, so I go, I got more caterpillar eggs. We send them your way.
Send them
So
our
thank
way.
you. Thank
Send them.
you.
They're in
Can I
various stages across our house, so it's all good.
Cool.
Dot, Nancy, can I say just one thing? Great job. I know I enjoy going by the garden. I know some of my neighbors are part of the garden, and I want to tell you, call me about I'm donating rolls for
The
you
rolls,
again.
oh, thank you.
Again this
We
year.
were hoping we were
Thank you.
going to corner you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I just made a note.
We'll make a
So,
call, and thank you very much. Actually, it's funny, we had from Bilbo, is it?
Bimbo, yep.
Bilbo, okay. They donated, and then also Olive Garden donated, but I have to tell you, most popular, they kind of like the slather, the butter between the soft bread that is more of those than, so it was very, so thank you very much.
We're happy to do it.
So I will follow up. Thank you.
Okay. If not before, we'll see you on the 26th.
Thank
All right. Great. Thanks again. Thank you. Okay, we'll continue on with communications and announcements, and I'll recognize our clerk, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Next Monday, February 10th, is the last day to pay town and county taxes in full without interest. The tax receiver's office in the town hall is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, to accept payments. If you cannot make it during our business hours, you may deposit your payment after hours using our drop box located near the door on the east side of the town hall. The box is secure and is checked several times a day. A receipt will be mailed to you once your payment is processed. And if you have any questions about your bill, please call the tax receiver's office at 340-8626. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Draw.
Yes, thank you. Just a reminder to all the residents, our next round of snow, I know no one wants to hear that, but it's coming, they say maybe tonight. Winter snow plowing rules are in effect till April 1st, and this means no parking is allowed on any Penfield roads and highways between 2 and 7 a.m. so our DPW crews can safely and effectively maintain our roadways. Thank you for assisting our crews in making the roads safer for everyone traveling to work, school, and other activities in our town.
Councilman Octon.
Thank you. Note from the Penfield Ecumenical Food Shelf is projecting a higher than normal need of non-perishable foods currently for those who are in need. The food shelf is a valuable resource to our community and making a big difference in so many lives each week. For a listing of all the items needed at the food shelf, you can go to penfieldecumenicalfoodshelf.org or you can call 585-234-0799. Donations can be made at their facility, which is located at 1618 Jackson Road. And thank you in advance.
Thank you. One announcement, Monday, February 17th, the town offices will be closed in observance of President's Day. However, the library will be open their normal scheduled business hours. So, Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The Penfield Players will be performing their Winter Readers Theater Show entitled Cinderella Waltz by Don Nigro on September 22nd and Saturday, February 22nd and Sunday, February 23rd at 2 p.m. Performances will be held at the Penfield Community Center at 1985 Baird Road. Theater admission is free, but donations to the Penfield Players will always be welcome and are accepted at the door. For details, you can check out penfieldplayers.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Cole.
I have two announcements. My next monthly community chat will be on Tuesday, February 18th from 5:30 to 7 in the New Book area at the library. So come visit if you have any questions or want to talk about anything. And my second announcement is reiterating what Nancy and Dot have said. Be sure to save the date for the Penfield Community Victory Gardens annual pasta dinner fundraiser being held Wednesday, February 26th, beginning at 4:30 at the Community Center on Baird Road for dinner. Takeout available too, along with a raffle table to test your luck on some great prizes. Tickets can be purchased in advance by calling 585-340-8655 or at the door on February 26th.
Thank you. All right, we'll continue on with our agenda. And the next item is public participation. And I'll ask our clerk, has anyone signed up to speak at this point? There are two opportunities at this point you can do that. And again, at the end of the agenda, and you can do that one of three ways. If you're here in the audience, you can call in at 340-8771, or you can log on at penfield.org. So, Amy?
Okay, I have actually 9 people that would like to speak today. The first one is Alan Hibner.
Welcome, Al.
Hey, welcome. Good evening, Supervisor LaFountain and members of the board. My name is Al Hibner. It's a privilege to follow information about green, renewable Victory Gardens and talk to you about green, renewable energy tonight. So, I live at 85 Highledge Drive in Penfield. I'm retired, and since the beginning of 2017, I've been volunteering full-time with lots of different organizations in the Rochester area that are laser focused on helping to reverse human-caused global warming and climate change. I'm personally dedicating all of my literally thousands of hours of work in the past 3 years, past, present, and future, to creating a more livable world for my 5 grandchildren. I am the leader of the Penfield Community Choice Aggregation Residence Committee, and that's a mouthful. That's a lot to say, so I'm going to kind of shorten that to CCA, Penfield CCA Residence Committee. And we are a strictly nonpartisan group of citizens in Penfield who care deeply about the devastating effects of climate change. This issue cannot be one that divides us. It must transcend hyperpartisanship that is so prevalent in our politics today. There is not a single moment to waste in finding solutions to this existential problem. So I want to sincerely thank all of you on the town board and also on the Energy and Environmental Advisory Board, all of those members, for undertaking a careful review of the CCA program over the last year and a half, and for tonight, launching the formal process to consider implementing a CCA program for Penfield with your resolution to set up a public hearing on the adoption of a local CCA enabling law. This is big. Our residents committee is very gratified at the tangible progress being made tonight by you And we are also very proud to have worked with you and alongside you and the EEAC committee in advancing this critical effort since the fall of 2018. We've been traveling with you down this road together. As you members of the board already know, and the rest of the Penfield residents will soon be learning more about over the coming weeks and months, a CCA program puts the control of choosing an energy supplier in our own community's hands. By pooling or aggregating the energy demand of all 36,000 plus Penfield residents, we build the clout necessary to negotiate lower rates with suppliers and to choose cleaner energy from renewable, carbon-free energy sources. The other members of the committee will now describe for you in greater detail how we would like to see a CCA program in Penfield structured and what the benefits of our vision for that program will be for all of our town's residents. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Megan Myers? Sorry, Megan. Thank you, Debbie.
Good evening, and thank you for hearing us tonight. My name is Megan Meyer, and I live at 61 Henderson Drive in Penfield. And the Penfield school system and its teachers had inspired me to follow a career in education. My parents instilled in me a respect and love for our natural world. They also taught me to leave things behind better than you found them. I grew up and raised my children here in Penfield, so my roots run deep. I believe how we structure Penfield's CCA program is a choice that impacts not only our pocketbooks, but will impact future generations with the kind of world they inherit. I support our town of Penfield moving forward with community choice aggregation that chooses 100% renewable energy, clean renewable electric energy for all participants, as our neighboring towns of Pittsford, Brighton, and Irondequoit have done. I also feel a community solar opt-up option is essential to the program that we put in place. The community solar opt-up component guarantees an additional savings of 8 to 10% over our current default RG&E rates for electricity and supports our local economy by keeping our electric dollars local and supporting local renewable energy production. It will also help the local economy create jobs. This choice will not only reduce our residents' energy bill, but additionally will be a better choice environmentally. To quote the World Resources Institute and our world's leading climate scientists, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is an urgent threat to humanity that demands swift, decisive action. Fires, droughts, floods, hurricanes, rising seas. Climate impacts are being felt all around the world and on track to get much worse. Every year of delay and every 1/10 of a degree matters. The next few years is the last window we have to steer the world in a better and safer direction for future generations. Addressing climate change requires dramatic changes to how we power our homes and factories and build our cities, to how we feed our families and move around. Yet countries, businesses, states, and cities have yet to make the deep structural, economic, and societal shifts that are required. We have put our faith in you as our town leaders to make the right choice in choosing a CCA program that offers only 100% renewable energy and community solar opt-up option that can further save money for our residents. A choice that will benefit all of us now, but also looks to ensure a sustainable future for our children and grandchildren. And I have a question for board members, and that is, will you commit to choosing 100% renewable electricity for our town as a default option if it can be provided at less than RG&E's rate?
What I'll say is that as we study this, we'll make sure that we're doing the right thing overall. But again, it's got to be good for the overall community. And we got to make sure that we're not costing our residents more overall. So as we go down this path, I think this board, and especially the EAC, has demonstrated that they will look at everything in the best interest of the community overall.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
John Steepy.
Good evening.
Hi, John.
My name is John Steepy. I live at 4 Live Oak Court here in Penfield. I'm here in support of the town's initiative to bring community choice aggregation to Penfield, and I thank the board for pursuing this initiative because it's an important one. CCA is important because it is a program that, when properly implemented, will offer several opportunities. Opportunity for town residents to save money on their electric bills through a no-risk program. And I say no risk because RG&E will still deliver the electricity through their own infrastructure, which they still will maintain, and they will still handle billing. It's very transparent. And also, residents can opt out of the CCA program at any time without penalty. It's an opportunity for Penfield to join other municipalities, as already mentioned, Irondequoit, Brighton, and Pittsford, that are also moving ahead with CCA to provide residents with clean, 100% renewable electricity. Town residents can save on their electrical energy costs because the customers from all the CCA municipalities are aggregated, enabling a strong position for negotiating lower electrical energy rates. And as mentioned by Megan, by joining a solar community program, community solar program, rates could be lowered even more. It's also an opportunity for Penfield to show that the town is ready to provide citizens a clean electrical energy option, that they're ready to be a regional leader in the green energy movement, and ready to do its part to rid our air of toxic pollutants such as the carbon emissions from the fossil fuels used to generate our electricity today. It's an opportunity to show that Penfield is concerned for the health and well-being of its residents, not only today, but in the years and decades to come. And to show that Penfield cares about the kind of world we leave to our children and grandchildren. We're all familiar with Fairport's reputation for low electrical rates via their village-owned utility. Everybody talks about Fairport rates. I believe that CCA in Penfield is the next best thing. The entire town can enjoy electrical rates lower than they already pay, and it can be done with 100% renewable energy. I support CCA in Penfield, and I encourage you to do what is good for the town, its residents, and on a broader basis, our planet, by moving ahead with community choice aggregation and 100% clean renewable energy in Penfield. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, John. Thank you.
Marty Korn.
Good evening, Doctor.
That's fine. I have yours, and I also have the list, so we're good. Thank you.
All right. Good evening,
Good evening.
Mr. LaFountain and members of the town board. My name is Martin Korn. I live at 71 Hillary Lane, Penfield, and have been a resident at that location for over 50 years, which compared to many people in this room is not very long. But that's the best we could do. We didn't know about this wonderful town before that. My wife, Phyllis Korn, and I last addressed you regarding the fracking issue, and we want to thank you for that action, which is now codified at state level, as you well know. And you were one of the starters that were role models in helping others move forward. We're here today to address the CCA resolution. Community choice aggregation has been well spelled out, which I believe is a wonderful win-win opportunity for our town. It's sort of like having your cake and eating it too. We are hopeful that you all plan to vigorously support this resolution and ultimately to alter the language to require that all electricity generation be by renewable technology. This can be accomplished under CCA-related community solar, under the CDG and alphabet soup of various kinds that we certainly can talk about later, and is subject for future discussion following CCA full resolution and passage. And we look forward to having that discussion in detail, getting into the weeds, which is where the important issues lie and need to be looked at very carefully, because there are differences among the administrators that are very significant. So we look forward to joining with the other towns in our area who have the same concerns about the health of our planet and the urgent need to embrace 100% alternatively sourced electric energy for our town and away from all carbon-based fossil fuels. Our children and our grandchildren are depending on us to do this and nothing less. We just have to think about Greta Thunberg and her view and who she said, who are the adults in the room. We have a real responsibility to our future generations, and that time is now. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of slack time to work with. And we can save money while we're doing it. That's the eating of the cake. There are exciting and productive times ahead. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
And Phyllis Korn.
Mr. LaFountain and
Phyllis.
members of the board, I am Phyllis James Korn, and Marty and I have lived at 71 Hillary Lane, Penfield, for more than 50 years. I'm here tonight because I want to see Penfield join other Monroe County towns with a mission to make and keep their town's electricity more green. I personally was taught as a child to try to make a difference in this world. And I'm here because I cringe at the destruction that we humans are causing to the environment and to our natural world. We want to see our children and our 7 grandchildren, and we want them to know that we, their grandparents, see the problem of climate change and will be part of the solution. It's critical that we all recognize that clean energy does not include carbon-based fuel, and that natural gas is a carbon-based fuel. Please keep that in mind as you consider this whole issue. If we can make concrete steps toward renewable and sustainable clean electric energy, we may make Penfield eligible for future grants as a green community with a far-sighted board. Tonight, I want to ask Mr. LaFountain and the town of Penfield will you commit to seeking clean, 100% renewable alternative energy source for the town's electric power? And I know you just addressed that a
Yep.
few minutes ago.
And we will, as part of that process, Phyllis, we definitely will look at that. And again, we're going down and we're covering some ground that we haven't covered before. And this board and our EAC have been very diligent in doing our due diligence as we've gone through. And I think you've heard me say, or you've heard our board say, and to quote Sinette Cavalier, who's on that board, we may not be the first, we may not be the last, but we will be the best when we're done.
Thank you for your continuing commitment to keeping Penfield green, or as green as we can, and to all you do, each one of you, for our town. Thank you.
Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you for coming.
Ruth Marchetti?
Welcome.
Well, thank you. Good evening. So my name is Ruth Marchetti. I live at 227 Henderson Drive, my neighbor in Penfield. I've recently retired from some 30-plus years of work with the Catholic Church, some of it here at St. Joseph's School in Penfield as a teacher, and then later with Catholic Charities in the diocese. And I say that because my faith underlies the other passions in my life, my family, my commitment to building a just world, my love of the natural world. And so I was especially excited when Pope Francis released his encyclical on the environment 5 years ago. This lengthy letter from the Pope is unusual because it's not addressed just to Catholics. It was addressed to every person living on the planet. And there was a reason for that. The environmental crisis facing our planet is so immense that it will take all of us, individuals, corporations, and governments large and small, working together to heal the damage that risks the futures of our children and our grandchildren. I'm also a founding member of RACA, which is Rochester Area Interfaith Climate Action. So it's not just Catholics in this game, it's across the board. We have people of all faiths that are engaged in doing this work. So 2 months ago, we heard our Penfield high schoolers speak eloquently about the need to protect our earth for their generation and those that follow. They're afraid that we adults will not respond until it's too late. We can't disappoint them by squandering this opportunity to provide 100% clean, renewable energy for the town of Penfield. I support community choice aggregation for Penfield because it's the easiest way for the people in this town to move away from carbon-based fuels. That's why I'd like Penfield to join Arundecoit, Brighton, and Pittsford to have 100% renewable electricity as a default option for our CCA. And I want the town to select an administrator for the program that can offer lower cost local community solar as an opt-up option. So there are 3 CCA administrators certified by the state of New York, Joule, Good Energy, and Mega. Will you be looking at all 3 administrators and what distinguishes one from another in this process?
That'll be part of our process, yes.
Good. Good. And if you don't join Pittsford, Brighton, and Arundecoit with their CCA, how will you go about selecting an administrator then?
We have received the information that they used when they went through an RFP for the administrators, and we'll look at that. We'll probably make some changes and upgrades to that. I think each time that you go out, you get better information, and you look for more information to be fed back. And we'll go through the process to see, what is the best fit for Penfield.
Good. Good.
Do you have one that you're suggesting?
I'm familiar with Joule, and I know that they offer the opt-up option, and that they have been, and that's the one that the other towns had gone with. So that's my preference I'm hoping it ends up being your preference, but I certainly would be open to any of them that are able to offer the same 100% clean energy, and preferably with that opt-up option so that we can take advantage of local solar projects here at an even deeper discount for those who choose it. So that would be my preference. So I just want to close tonight with a few words of advice from Pope Francis. So he offered this to government leaders. There's a little quote: "True statecraft is manifest when, in difficult times, we uphold high principles and think of the long-term common good." So I ask that you do that today. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruth.
Mindy McLaren.
Hi, Mindy.
Hi. My name is Mindy McLaren. I live at 1724 5 Mile Line Road. Dot and Nancy are gone, but the community garden is our direct neighbor, and that was one of the reasons why we purchased our home, so I can attest to how wonderful that garden is. I want to begin by thanking all of you on the board for furthering this important issue of community choice aggregation for Penfield. I support CCA for Penfield for a number of reasons, but one key reason is that it's a clear step that we can take in the fight against global climate change. As a mother of twin 10-year-olds, I worry about how the negative effects of a warming planet will affect their futures, and sadly, my daughters worry about that too. Secondly, I feel it's our moral responsibility to do what we can to positively impact our community and our environment at both the local and the global level. I would like Penfield to join with the surrounding towns of Pittsford, Brighton, and Irondequoit in having 100% renewable electricity as the default option for its CCA. And I'd like the town to select a CCA administrator that can offer the lower cost community solar as an opt-up option. Community solar, as John and Megan referred to earlier, is expected to save consumers between 8 and 10% versus RG&E's standard rate, and it will also help our local community, or local economy, excuse me. I'd like to highlight a few more key points of benefit to adopting CCA. The first being that community choice aggregation programs are run by a third-party administrator. Since there is little to no administrative cost to the town once it's up and running, there is no impact on taxes. CCA programs are already active in the 8 states that have implemented CCA legislation. So aside from New York, this includes Massachusetts, Ohio, California, Illinois, New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Virginia. And many towns in New York State are already implementing or planning to implement CCA. Geneva and Brockport are 2 of 80 such places in the state of New York. CCA is an ideal initiative for Penfield to think globally and act locally. Our participation might encourage other towns to also participate, creating a domino effect in flipping entire regions to carbon-free energy and having the aforementioned positive impact on the collective problem of global climate change. And I would just encourage anybody that's interested to follow us on Facebook. We are the Penfield Community Choice Aggregation Resident Committee page. Thank you.
Thanks, Mindy.
Katie Rigg.
Good evening. My name is Katie Rigg, and I live at 23 Dundas Drive. I'd like to begin by echoing my friends here and thanking you for taking the bold steps in moving CCA along for our town. My husband and I are very much in favor of this program. We have 2 little girls, ages 2 and 6. We, like most parents, make their health and happiness our top priority, now and for their future. It is in the interest of their future well-being that I'm here tonight. We are at a fork in the road here in Penfield. One path, either staying with RG&E or choosing a CCA that's not 100% renewable by default, leads to more of the same, burning fossil fuels in the mix to make our electricity, and more CO2 in the atmosphere. But there is a second path, one that takes us to a new place and the promise of a whole lot less carbon being emitted. Iceland recently spent $10 million on a facility that captures CO2 and pumps it underground, sequestering it in rocks. When it hits maximum operations, it will capture 50 tons of CO2 per year, which is about the same emissions for one American household over the same amount of time. We have an opportunity now to cut out more than 20,000 tons of carbon dioxide every year if our town can transition to 100% clean electricity. With this one action, you 5 individuals can have a much bigger impact than the facility in Iceland by a factor of 400. And it won't cost $10 million. It's at no cost, even savings to our residents. I'm here to support 100% carbon-free electricity as the default offering, and I will absolutely oppose any mix that includes any form of fossil fuels. We have reached the point when 100% renewable is absolutely doable, and it makes sense financially. I work with climate advocacy groups here in Rochester, and we talk about Penfield quite often, in the sense of how can we bottle what we have in Penfield and bring that success to other communities. In the past year, you have voiced your support for a price on carbon through your endorsement of bipartisan carbon fee and dividend legislation at the federal level. You have installed an incredible solar array to power town offices. You understand the urgency, the need to act now to protect our future, my daughter's futures. Please continue to do the right thing and move quickly to aggregate with our neighbors who have chosen an administrator who can offer the opt-up community solar package so we can maximize our savings, support our local economy, and most importantly to my family and increasing numbers of your constituents, reduce our carbon footprint. So I have a question, and I'm wondering if you will be applying for the Clean Energy Communities program.
We're working on that. That's the next piece that the board is working on. In fact, we're meeting with Haley Farrington next week with our couple of members of our committee.
That's wonderful news.
So.
Wish you luck. Yes, really. And then besides CCA, what's next in your sustainability plan for Penfield?
Well, that's a great question, Katie. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I've got all the answers right off the top of my head, other than we've got an active committee, and they continue to push the envelope. So stay tuned, and come to our meetings, and we'll learn together.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Sure thing.
And Jeff Burns.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Jeff Burns. I live at 39 Scarborough Park. Was surprised to realize that I've lived here for 16 years. That time's gone by very fast. I'd like to thank the board, like the others have, for continuing to move this process forward to introduce CCA, community choice aggregation, to Penfield. Like the others have said, I also support community choice aggregation for Penfield, and I feel very strongly that our default option for the town should be electricity that's 100% renewable, carbon-free electricity. I think that this is a wonderful opportunity to switch our entire town over to renewable energy and to save money at the same time. My neighborhood has had group purchases on various items over the years. We have an email group that we share group purchase of things like snow plowing and mulch delivery. Community choice aggregation is a little bit like that. It's like a group purchase of electricity, but on a town-wide basis. By pooling our purchasing power, we can negotiate a better price with electricity suppliers. The town of Penfield solar array produces carbon-free electricity that's equivalent to the annual use of about 120 houses, from what I understand. If we go with a green CCA for Penfield, we'll reduce our carbon footprint by more than 100 times that. So it would be like having that solar field, but 100 times bigger in terms of what the impact would be on our carbon relief here. The solar array also, I understand, has saved taxpayers over $40,000 last year. So that demonstrates the kind of savings that we can have with a group purchase of carbon-free electricity as well. We can see that it's possible. Westchester Power was the first CCA to be operational in the state of New York. It serves 27 municipalities, 24 of which I understand have chosen renewable power as the default option. So that's the baseline that we want to hit. If we want to be the best, we need to be up with those 24 that have chosen to have renewable power as a default option. According to an article in newspaper, the residents there saved more than $17 million in rate savings in less than 3 years. By implementing a renewable CCA, as someone else had mentioned, Penfield will encourage other towns to do so, and this can continue on. This could be a domino effect that could spread regionally, nationally. We have an opportunity for Penfield to have a multiplying effect in reducing our impact on the climate. So what we do here has not just an effect on Penfield, but it would have an effect ultimately in places like California, Australia, Greece, where we've seen these tremendous, horrible fires that have been largely as the result of climate change. To go partway with only slightly cleaner mix of electricity would be missing that opportunity. We're a bit behind some of the other towns in the area in terms of doing CCA to reduce electricity costs and eliminating carbon emissions. I agree with what other people have said that I'd really like to see, if possible, for Penfield to join Irondequoit, Brighton, and Pittsford because they already have an aggregation, and we could be part of a larger aggregation and have that much greater negotiating power when we're negotiating for green energy. Currently, I get my energy through an ESCO from Buffalo, from the Energy Cooperative of America, and through them, I pay a little bit less. I pay a little bit. I pay 22% less than I would pay through RG&E if I went with their green option. I pay slightly more than their standard mix. So that's the type of savings that we could have where we could be actually below, though, the cost of the conventional mix of electricity. I'd really like to see the town select an administrator for the program that can also offer community solar as an opt-up option. And what's different about this option is that usually when you opt up, you pay more. But in this case, we'd be paying less. Anybody who participated would be guaranteed savings of 8 to 10%. Versus RG&E's standard electric rate. So a few questions I have is, one, Tony, I wanted to ask you, in terms of the clean energy communities, what are the benefits to Penfield that Penfield might enjoy by being part of that? From what I understand, that it will help Penfield to qualify for potential grants that could help develop further renewable energy projects in our town.
That's correct.
What's the scale of that? Do you have a feel for what
once we get together, we've had just a high-level discussion with Haley here back in October. We're going to drill down a little bit deeper, and we'll have a little bit better handle on that. But that certainly is one of the factors, is being able to qualify for some grant opportunities.
Very good. And then I'd like to ask the whole board in terms of, does the whole board support implementing CCA in Penfield, with the understanding, of course, that it would be at a reduced rate? And we'll start with that.
So this is what I'm going to say. We're not going to go down through and pull the board, Jeff. What I'm going to say is that we're going to hold a public hearing. We're going to pass a resolution tonight to hold a public hearing, and we're going to continue down this path. And you'll have an opportunity to get a little bit deeper dive as we go through. But the first and foremost, we've got to get the legislation in place, and that is legislation calling for CCA in Penfield.
Okay.
And then once we do that, that, then we'll start going through the administrator process and go down through. And I will tell you, I don't necessarily think that Penfield's that far behind, because I don't see Brighton, Arundecoit, and Pittsburgh moving quite as quick with things, at least in conversations that I've had with those supervisors. So I think Penfield may catch up sooner than you think, and may surpass where they are.
So in terms of a timeline, do you think that this would be something that would be implemented yet in 2020, or do you think this is something we'd be looking at in early 2021? Do you have a feel for what that would be?
I think we're going to hold a public hearing, and unless there's some surprises that come out that we're not aware of, I think we're looking to pass that enabling legislation, sometime in the April timeframe.
Right. But in terms of implementation thereafter...
And we'll go through the process, Jeff. We'll follow the process. We'll go through. It'll take some time, so from when the other communities started to where they are today, I think they're probably about 18 months or thereabouts from where they started to where they are. And like I said, I don't think it'll take us that long. I think we'll go down that path a little bit quicker, because we certainly can learn from them and others that are embarking on this.
Right.
And that's part of the thing that the EEAC has done so well, is to keep their finger on the pulse, not only locally, but around New York State and other states, to see how things are going and learn from that.
Yeah. Now, do you think that having the community solar as an option is worthwhile for
Stay tuned, follow us through the process, Jeff, and we'll see how that all shakes out.
Right. Okay.
But don't box me in a corner.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
That's all I have.
Okay. Is there anyone else that has not spoken tonight on this topic? And then we'll also open it up to any other topics that anyone might have. Okay. Anyone else in the audience to address the board on any matter? At this time, again, there is a second opportunity at the end of the meeting. Okay. We'll continue on with our agenda. I'll ask the board, is there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda?
No, sir.
Seeing none. We do have the minutes of January 2nd before us, and would entertain a motion of approval for those minutes.
I move that the minutes of January 2nd be approved.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on those minutes?
Mr. Supervisor, I just have one little note here under Resolution 20T-051. Just at the end of my name, it refers to junior, which is a common mistake, and I just asked that that be removed.
Your dad, Bob, and you, Bob.
Yeah, and there's one more beyond
we
that,
automatically
so, yeah.
just make an assumption of junior. All right, all right.
Thank you, that's all.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Okay, with that one small amendment to the minutes, those in roll call, excuse me.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5
Great.
ayes.
Thank you very much. Petitions. Has the town board, town attorney, or town clerk received any petitions since the last meeting? Okay. We'll move on to resolutions by function, starting with law and finance, please.
Setting a public hearing for adoption of local law number 1 of 2020 to be known as a local law to effect a moratorium and prohibition within the town of Penfield of public golf course redevelopment.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the town board of the town of Penfield wishes to consider adopting proposed local law 1 of 2020, which would amend and extend a moratorium and prohibition of golf course redevelopment on real property located in the town of Penfield. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Penfield will hold a public hearing at the Penfield Town Hall on February 26, 2020 at 7 p.m. on said date to consider said proposal and to hear all persons interested in the issuance and adoption of local law 1 of 2020, which would amend and extend a moratorium and prohibition of public golf course redevelopment on real property located within the town of Penfield. The local law shall not apply to the .62 acres of vacant land situated between 1875 and 1885 Baird Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign a license and hold harmless agreement to allow a fence within a storm sewer easement at 18 Westfield Commons.
Moved.
Second.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Penfield hereby authorizes a supervisor to sign a license and hold harmless agreement with the owners of the property at 18 Westfield Commons to permit a fence to encroach in a storm sewer easement to the town of Penfield located at 18 Westfield Commons. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion. Seeing no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign a service agreement with Pickering Sign Service LLC to provide and post signs on properties subject to review by various boards in the town of Penfield.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas proposals were sought and requested to furnish the Director of Development Services with quotes to provide and post signs of properties subject to review by various boards within the town of Penfield. Whereas quotes were requested to be submitted by January 17, 2020 at 11 a.m., and Pickering Sign Service LLC was the only quote received. Whereas the term of the contract shall run between February 5th, 2020 through December 31st, 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Penfield hereby authorizes a supervisor to sign a service agreement with Pickering Signs LLC in Williamson, New York. Thank you.
Thank you. This resolution, further discussion? So this resolution is part of making sure that we post anytime there's an application to come in before the town, whether it's a town board, zoning board, or planning board, we post so that anybody driving by is aware of that. So in addition to advertising in the local paper, putting it in on our website, we also post the property, so we make sure that everybody is aware overall of what is going on at that particular property. Seeing no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. The authorization to enter in the New York Class Municipal Cooperation Agreement.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas New York General Municipal Law, Article 5G, Section 119-0, Section 119-0 also empowers municipal corporations, defined as Article 5G, Section 119N, to include school district, board of cooperative education services, counties, cities, towns, and villages, and districts, to enter into and amend, cancel, or terminate agreements for the performance among themselves of their respective functions, powers, and duties on a cooperative and contract basis. Whereas the town of Penfield wishes to assure the safety of all of its funds, and now therefore be it resolved, the resolution as follows, that Comptroller Barbara Cherto is hereby authorized to execute and deliver the NYCLASS Municipal Cooperation Agreement Amendment and restate as of March 28, 2019, in the name of and on behalf of the town of Penfield. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion. So let me kind of break this resolution down a little bit, because it's those whereases and the 5Gs and a few other things. Essentially, New York Class Municipal Cooperative gives the town the opportunity, another opportunity to invest their money. So depending upon where the best rates are, either at the bank, as we do, or in this case through New York Class, you have the opportunity as to where you can get your best interest rate overall in today's environment. The benefit of New York Class is that we have the opportunity, if you put your money in, you can get your money out without the full term. So it ends up being prorated. So if you go out for a bond for 3 months or to get a CD for 3 months, if you do an early withdrawal for that, you lose any accrued interest. This way, we have an opportunity opportunity, again, as another alternative to invest our monies with the opportunity to get it out without penalties. So that's and anybody that has an interest in some light reading, if you go to Article 5G, Section 19-0 and Section 19-0N, please feel free to really get into that aspect of it. I will let our finance folks, both from our finance people from Bernie Donegan, as well as our town finance director and our town attorney, Mr. Horowitz, to sort through all of that. Seeing no further discussion, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Budget amendment for 2019 in the library fund.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas at their monthly meetings, the library board recognized interest income during the fourth quarter of 2019 in the amount of $600 to be used for library activities. Whereas the town board desires to have an up-to-date budget in relation to current appropriations and revenues. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board enact the following 2019 budget amendment as approved. Under revenue, under gift memorial interest income in the amount of $600, and appropriations under gift and memorial expenses, $600. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion. Seeing no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for supervisors to sign an agreement with Troy and Banks Utility and Telecommunications Consultants.
Moved.
Second.
Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign an agreement with Troy and Banks at 2216 Kensington Avenue, Buffalo, New York, to conduct utility audits of the town gas, electric, and water sewer utility service accounts. This agreement to be reviewed and approved by the Penfield Town Attorney. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion. So this resolution, we're authorizing Troy Banks to go through and complete a study. I think if you read in about mid-2019, town of Rondequoit had them do a study of their utilities, and they recovered about $180,000 of monies that were either not properly accounted for or not properly credited back to the town. And so we are embarking with them. I'm not hoping, or I'm not expecting $180,000, but I'm hoping for. So I'm expecting that we have done a better job, no knock to my friend Dave Seeley and Rondequoit, but I think we have probably done a better job, but there is that opportunity to make sure that our public utilities are treating us as fairly as they should be. So with that, roll call, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Setting a public hearing to consider adoption of local law number 2 of 2020 to be known as a local law to authorize establishment of a community choice aggregation energy program in the town of Penfield.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the town board of the town of Penfield wishes to consider adopting proposed local law number 2 of 2020 to be known as a local law to authorize establishment of a community choice aggregation program in the town of Penfield. Whereas the purpose of said law, local law, is to reduce costs and provide cost certainty for the purpose of economic development, to promote deeper penetration of energy efficiencies and renewable energy resources such as wind and solar, and wider development of distribution of energy resources, as well as to examine the retail energy markets and increase participation of and benefits for eligible consumers in those markets. Among the policies and models that may be offered benefits in New York is community choice aggregation, known as CCA. which allows local governments to determine the default supplier of electricity and natural gas on behalf of eligible consumers. Whereas the town will seek a combination of lowest cost and highest percent of renewable energy resources. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Penfield shall hold a public hearing at the Penfield Town Hall on March 4th, 2020 at 7 p.m. on said date to consider the said proposal, to hear all persons interested in the question of the adoption of Local Law 2 of 2020 to be known as a local law to authorize the establishment of a community choice aggregation, or CCA, program in the town of Penfield. A copy of said law is attached to this resolution and will be part of as Schedule A. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion board. Okay, seeing no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Thank you.
Advertising for bids for catch basin replacements.
So moved.
Second.
Be it resolved that the Director of Public Works be and hereby is authorized to advertise in the manner prescribed by law for sealed proposals to furnish the Town of Penfield Department of Works the following: removal and replacement of various deteriorated catch basins. Now therefore be it further resolved that the removal and replacement of the various deteriorated catch basins covered by such proposals shall be in accordance with the specifications prepared by the Director of Public Works. Sealed proposals are to be received in the office of the Town Clerk until February 21st, 2020, at 11 a.m. local time, and then to be opened and read publicly by the Town Clerk.
Okay, thank you. Discussion. Annual program that we have for catch basin repair and replacement. Okay, seeing no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole. Aye. LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Advertising for bids for a Phase 3 replacement of a portion of the roof at Community Center.
So moved.
Second.
Be it resolved that the Director of Public Works again is authorized to advertise in the manner prescribed by law for sealed proposals to furnish the Town of Penfield Department of Public Works the following: the Phase 3 of the replacement of the roof at the Penfield Community Center. Now therefore be it further resolved that the replacement of this portion of the roof at the community center covered by such proposals shall be in accordance with the specifications prepared by the Director of the Public Works. Sealed proposals are to be received in the office of the Town Clerk until February 28th, 2020 at 11 a.m. and then and there they will be opened and read publicly by the Town Clerk.
Thank you very much. Discussion.
I'm glad we're getting the part of the roof replaced and on our
One more
community
phase
center.
and we'll be right up to snuff. So,
Absolutely.
all right. Roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes.
I'll ask the clerk for the next 10 resolutions, 065 through 075, which are all individual purchases of vehicles for the year, snowplows, pickup trucks, et cetera. If she would read the titles of all of those, and I'll ask the board for one motion, 1 second for those resolutions.
Number 65, purchase of two 2021 International HV 607 six-wheel dump trucks with plows and wings. 66, purchase of a 2021 International HX 620 10-wheel dump truck with plow and wing. Number 67, purchase of a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 4WD double cab work track. 68, purchase of a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD 4WD double cab work truck. Number 69, purchase of a Bobcat E50 excavator. Number 70, purchase of a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado 3500 HD 4WD crew cab work truck. 20T071, purchase of a 2020 Ford F-150 XL Super Cab 4x4 pickup truck. Number 72, purchase of a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 4WD double cab work truck. 73, purchase of a 2020 Chevrolet Express cargo van. 74, purchase of a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 4WD double cab work truck. And number 75, purchase of a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 4WD double cab work truck.
Mr. Supervisor, Town Board, I'd like to so move resolutions 65 through 74, through 75, I'm sorry.
Second.
Thank you. And these, in Resolution 65 through 75, they're authorizing the Director of Public Works to purchase vehicles for the following departments: the highway, the sewer, the parks, the facilities, and the building of the Fire Marshal's office. All these vehicles were included and approved in the 2020 adopted budget, and all of these vehicles fall under a state or a county bid contract. Much-needed vehicles.
Thank you. Okay. Further discussion on the vehicle purchase or purchases? Okay, seeing none, I'd ask for one vote for those 10 resolutions.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Advertising for bids to provide maintenance for various properties as required under Article 15-15.10 and Article 7-7.11 of Chapter 250 of the Town Code.
So moved.
Second.
Whereas the purpose of Article 15-15.10 and Article 7-7.11 of Chapter 250 of the Town Code is to secure compliance and to protect and preserve property, devaluation, and to assure the safety, health protection, and general welfare of persons and property in the town of Penfield, and to prevent the gradual encroachment of blight, deterioration, uselessness, and property devaluation, and to assure that the safety, health protection, and general welfare of persons and property in the town of Penfield. And whereas the Building and Zoning Office has the need to secure and maintain properties failing to comply with the minimum requirement of Article 15-15.10 and Article 7-7.11 of the Chapter 250 of the Town Code. Now therefore be it resolved that the Building and Zoning Administrator be and hereby is authorized to advertise in a manner prescribed by law for sealed proposals for the securing of properties and for the maintenance and cleanup that have failed to be maintained in accordance with the Town Code requirements. And be it further resolved that the services covered by such proposals shall be in accordance with the specifications prepared by the Building and Zoning Administrator.
Thank you. Discussion. Unfortunate that we have to pass this resolution on a yearly basis. Unfortunately, we do have some homes in Penfield that go into foreclosure, and windows are broken, doors are damaged, and in order to keep animals out and to maintain the property so it doesn't devalue any more than it does being unoccupied, and then the cutting of grass to make sure that from a neighbor standpoint that we're addressing that aspect. Seeing no further discussion, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Awarding contract for print program brochures.
So moved.
Second.
Sealed proposals were sought and requested to furnish the Town of Penfield Recreation Department with printing the seasonal program brochure for 2020 calendar year, including summer, fall, winter, spring, to meet our specifications. On Friday, January 10th, proposals from the following companies were received, opened, and read publicly by the town clerk: Penny Lane Printing, Webster Printing, and Indiana Printing and Publishing Company. Be it resolved, the contract is awarded to Penny Lane Printing as a low bidder overall for bid number 2, including alternatives 1, 2, and 3 of each bid. The bid specifications, the bid documents are submitted in a formal contract, are to be reviewed and approved by the town attorney.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion on this resolution? Seeing none, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay, this brings us to old business. Is there any old business to come before the board this evening? Seeing none. Is there any new business to come before the board this evening? Again, seeing none, This brings us to our second public participation. Again, if you're in the audience, you can address the board on any matter. You can call in at 340-8771. Log on at penfield.org. Al, your hand was up first. Jeff, your hand was up second. So please.
Again, my name's Al Hibner, and I live at 85 Howledge Drive, and I think I've lived in Penfield for 55 years. I think I outrank you just a tad, Marty. And I want to absolutely thank the board for unanimously passing Resolution 20T-062. We have begun the process to implement CCA tonight, so thank you for that. I want to conclude remarks made by our residents committee members tonight by taking just a moment to step back in time to a point that I think are two amazing accomplishments by this board already. Accomplishments that truly set the stage for what our CCA program in Penfield must become. First, on May 9th, 2018, all 5 members of this board, now I know 2 of you are new, signed a letter endorsing Citizens Climate Lobby's policy called Carbon Fee and Dividend. At that time, all board members indicated unanimous support for placing a steadily rising fee, and I have a copy of this, and I will give you copies of everything that I have. Steadily rising fee on CO2 and equivalent emissions at the national level, and for returning 100% of the net revenues from that fee to all American households as equal shares. Now, under this policy that you endorsed, monthly dividend checks would be sent to each family to offset 100% or more of the rising costs of energy derived from burning fossil fuels for the vast majority of low and middle income families in our country. The policy is revenue neutral. It does not grow the size of government, and it is the first best step Congress can take to begin the process of reversing global warming. It is not the only step we need to take, but it is the first best step that we need to take. Secondly, almost a year later, actually a bit more than a year later, on June 3rd, 2019, Supervisor LaFountain signed a letter on behalf of the board, and again, I have copies of that for the new members to review, endorsing what became the Energy Innovation Carbon and Dividend Act, House Resolution 763. This is the bill that will actually implement the carbon fee and dividend policy described above. I hand-delivered the letter from Supervisor LaFountain to the staff members of Congressman Joe Morelli, and later in June, he decided to co-sponsor this bill and made the Energy Innovation Act, H.R. 763, the cornerstone of his climate action policy announced on August 14th, 2019. And I believe that your letter and your endorsement earlier had a profound impact on his decision to co-sponsor this bill. I talked with him about that. When a price on carbon takes effect in the very near future, and it will, come back and talk to me at some point. Trust me, it will. It has to. Electricity generated from coal and natural gas-fired power plants will rise steadily in price over 2 decades until all such fossil fuel plants become economically unsustainable and are finally closed. Witness that already happening. 2 days ago, the Democrat and Chronicle headlined, New York's last coal plant, and this is in Niagara County, is closing. See the real-life impact. It's happening now. The closing of fossil fuel-generated energy plants. So what does this mean for our CCA program here in Penfield? We have a chance, you have a chance right now to structure our program so that 100% of the electricity that we purchase through the program comes from renewable and carbon-free sources. This can be done from the very beginning of our program at a cost that's lower than RG&E's prior 12-month average rate for electricity. If we also incorporate community solar into our program, Those residents who opt in to community solar will be guaranteed savings of 8 to 10% on the electricity portion of their monthly energy bill. Doing this, knowing that carbon pricing will cause the price of fossil fuel-generated electricity to increase year by year, means that you are insulating, inoculating, and shielding Penfield residents from higher electricity costs now and into the future, as well as building a more sustainable and livable world for everyone residing in our town. Doing so is the financially responsible and environmentally sustainable choice that we on the committee urge you to make. This is the choice that you must make. Thank you so much for listening to all of us tonight. We appreciate it very, very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Thank you. Jeff? Make sure she pays you for the price of that newspaper, Al.
I'll be very fast. I was so busy trying to get my points across, I forgot to provide everyone with our website. So the website is penfieldcca.org. So if anybody would like more information about community choice aggregation in Penfield, and also we'll be putting up more information about what other communities are doing, what the savings have been elsewhere, and what the impact has been concerning carbon control. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no other comments, public participation, anything like that, I would like to reach out and say thank you to Max, Troop 9. Good luck on your final journey. He has completed his Eagle project. Congratulations on that. He's finishing up 2 last badges. We're helping him with 1 tonight. The other one, you're on your own to get that cooking one, but between your family members and other key friends, I'm sure you'll be able to get that taken care of, and good luck. Please send us an invitation to your Court of Honor if you wouldn't mind, because we'd be honored to be there. Okay, seeing no further business to come before the town board on this February 5th, 2020, I will declare this meeting officially closed. Thank you for everyone that participated. Thank you to Penfield TV at 8:28 p.m. Thank you.